Okay, it's Friday, January 13th. This is a SPY kind of a morning update about an hour into trading. And you can see here, even though the pre-market moved a lot lower right out of the gates, the first 15-minute bar kind of paused a little bit and then broke out to the upside. So whether you played it or not, the only way to really see what might happen today was to try to get long here. You know you have the continuity to the upside on both. It would be, you're above the open on the daily chart. You have the weekly chart green. We have our monthly chart green. So we know the continuity is to the upside, but also, we know that you're not going to necessarily get momentum above the pre-market highs that you really are looking for. You also know you have some exhaustion risk to really move up further day after day after day, but you are starting, kind of near the bottom of yesterday's range, and you're getting the up opening. So anyway, if you didn't play that, then you're kind of just watching. There was no signal to go short here. Red bars below this area. I was talking about that as a possibility. So you're just kind of watching it. And then as it kind of creeped up, let's just say you did nothing at this point. What I would have looked for, or what I am looking for, to go long, is just kind of an orderly pullback, maybe to the halfway point of that first move, see if we can get a green bar there, and then to start testing these highs and maybe working towards the pre-market highs. Now, the tricky thing is we kind of reached that yesterday's close, the yellow line. A lot of times on these kind of consolidation days, that's all you get, and then you kind of, that's why you're pausing here. But really, until we break down below the midpoint of that first move, until we start even doing anything to test the open of this day, I can't get negative, and yet I didn't want to aggressively get positive either. So that's why I said it was a bit of a tricky day. I'm not surprised that after this up opening, you get a little follow through the upside, but I'm also not surprised you're pausing here. So it's almost like, in terms of the SPY, you have an inside day from yesterday. At the moment, that's green, so it's a little tricky to know really what's going to happen. Like I said, the more and more the day goes on and we don't pull back, the more this weekly bar is going to look like it's going to close green, and that's going to mean likely follow through higher. So there is a bit of an upward bias here if we don't pull back all that much. But this is kind of a moment here where we might get like a 2 up, 2 down, and I want to see if it fails, and if it just gets an orderly kind of a pullback, then the next move up, I think you can play it for a very short-term trade, and you can kind of sense that we're going to probably close green on the week and follow through higher into next week. But anyway, that's what's developing. I'm not saying, not an easy day to purely trade. The only thing to do here would have been to get long right out of the gates and have a tight stop right at the open. So, it's a very small stop if you wanted to try it. And then you kind of see if you work your way up towards, the top of this area, which we've sort of done. And now you can see it doesn't look like we're pulling back all that much. So the bias is certainly up on the day, but I don't really feel strongly about the momentum carrying us above, the pre-market highs either. So, the best kind of trade might be, if you won't even do anything, to see if we just pull back in here and then have one more attempt up there. That would at least give you some room to move if you're not already in here. So anyway, we'll see what happens today. The bias is to the upside, but it's a little tricky. As I said, if anything, for me, I missed a lot of the good trades. You got like Coinbase, which actually some stocks, the ones that opened up above their pre-market highs and following through on yesterday's highs, they moved up nicely. A lot of stocks from the lows are moving up. You can see here like Meta. I've actually been more focused on the downside, in terms of, so I've played Federal Express here to the short side, and I'm playing Disney to the short side given the open. So it's kind of mixed in that way. And like I said, as I discussed on that opening video, it's a little tricky today in terms of really what to do coming to the end of the week after a kind of a big run up and starting with a kind of a move down. But anyway, that's what I'm looking at now. We'll just have to see how the day unfolds. Tough to say how we're really going to end up. But I think, if we have a really severe pullback that's going to test, the intraday low here, then maybe you can get short at some point at the end of the day. But I don't know. I don't anticipate that looking at this price action. An orderly pullback in here could set up a little secondary buy towards the afternoon.